So I want to talk about one word, and this word means so much. Now, this word also is a word that so many people are afraid of. And so I just want to break it down and talk about the word, and that word is commitment. Commitment. Oh gosh. What is Greg getting ready to tell me to do? Oh gosh. What is Greg going to ask me to commit to? Oh gosh. Greg is sounding like my spouse. Oh gosh. Maybe he's going to tell me I need to go work out because I made a commitment to lose weight and have been to the gym all year. Oh gosh. You know, like when we start thinking about commitment, it's hard to not immediately go to all the things that you're not committed to. And the reason why our minds go so quickly to what we're not committed to is because we're not committed to many things. Like the amount of things that we're not committed to, if you would put that on a list, and then you'd make a second list of the things that you are committed to and that you demonstrate commitment to, you would realize that there would be one thing on your list, maybe. Like I dare any of you and me to actually put a list of things on a piece of paper that you commit to and have demonstrated a commitment to. Put it on a list and show somebody what's on your list and allow them to ask you a few questions like, you committed to this, right? But then all of a sudden, as soon as you tell somebody that commitment, they look at you and say, really? I haven't seen you do that at all. What's interesting in our life and in our business, what we are committed to and what we demonstrate commitment to is very little or non-existent. And what we don't commit to, that list, is long. Like for you to complete that list, your hand would get a cramp. If you had to make a list of all the things that you're not committed to, if you were typing it or writing it or speaking it into like a voice typing type of machine, you would either mouth would go dry, your fingers would start to hurt, your hand would cramp. You would probably never complete that list. And as I'm having this call, I can see some of you already trying to figure out what the hell am I committed to. Most of you, if you really had integrity with yourself, not with somebody else, integrity, being honest with yourself, most of you wouldn't put one thing on a list that you're committed to. What's today, Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. That'll be the kind of the not feel so good portion of today's call. Now let's get into the rest of the call. So how does commitment, what is commitment? I wrote down here commitment. What is commitment? And I started looking it up and like trying to see all kinds of different definitions and trying to figure out which one I think applies most to our business and whatnot. And so what is commitment? It's a pledge or promise to follow a certain course. Like as simply as I can put it, it's just like you're making a promise to yourself, but you could be making a promise to someone else to do certain things, to follow a certain course. And the commitment that you make, it influences how you act. Like when you make a commitment to, get up at 5 a.m, there's a strong possibility that you'll go to sleep at 9 at night instead of 11 at night. Like, so the commitment to getting up will influence how you act at another time, which is in that scenario, the night before. If you're really committed, then there's a cause and an effect. You're like, okay, this is what I'm committed to, and this is what will give me the best chance of actually living up to that commitment. See, a commitment is a promise to follow a certain course, and those commitments will influence how you act. The commitment is why you keep going when you don't want to go anymore. The commitment is why you keep going when you wanted to quit. It's like why you showed up when you felt like not showing up. Like commitment, that's what commitment is. Because see, without that commitment, if you don't want to show up, you just don't show up, which does influence your result. See, without a commitment, that influences how you act. Because without a commitment to showing up at a certain time, you probably won't show up on a certain time. That's how you would act. But with a commitment to showing up on a certain time, you're likely to show up at that time because the commitment influences how you act. Now, I think all of you believe that. What is hard to believe is that the domino effect. It's like when I make a commitment to show up earlier, then that causes me to prospect more, make more contacts, and then that causes me to set more appointments, and then that causes me to do this, and then that causes me to have to go to the bank more often because I got to cash my checks. Like people are not thinking that one commitment, they don't know how that influences, first of all, not how it influences the way they act, and then they're disconnected with when they act different, they get different results. See, it all starts with the commitment. Commitment leads to success. See, commitment influences the overall approach you take to building your business. Commitment gives you a sense of ownership in your business, and when you feel like you have ownership in your business, that's what leads to success. So talk about your non-commitment. Your non-commitment to the process. See, when you have no commitment, which is basically I've said this about everybody, including myself on the call today, and I'll pretty much stand behind my statement because I would really love to see anybody that can show one of their commitments that they actually demonstrate a commitment to it. Show me what that one item is, because it would be inspiring to me. Not that I don't believe that somebody could have that. It's just that I'm in the belief that nobody has it. So anybody that can really show it and is demonstrating it would be a great example. I want to be around people that are an example to commitment. Hell, I'm not even an example to myself, so it's not that easy to find somebody. We're all in the same boat here. But what I'm trying to bring to everyone's attention, to bring to the forefront today, is there's a cost to it. And I don't think most people understand the cost. So let me share with you some of the costs of not committing to a process of building your business. Being non-committal to building your business or to the processes, the strategies that lead to building your business, is the greatest cause of failure in the business. Like, the real estate business is not hard. It's like, you think about how many millions of real estate transactions are going on. And, a real estate job is they find a buyer, they find a seller, and they kind of get in the middle and provide some services that make the transaction go through. Like, if we just really look at it from the most basic level, it's not that difficult. But being in this business and not being committed to a process, in my opinion, is the cause of most agents' failure. Like, committing to a process, even if it's a process that may not be the best process you could commit to, will cause you to have a better result than any agent that's not committed to a process at all. Look, there are coaches all over the country. You got Mike Ferry, you got Tom Ferry, you got Matthew Ferry, you got Brian Buffini, you got David Knox, you got Dirk Zeller, you got Greg Proctor, we could just go, Lars, and we could just go on forever at listing all of these coaches. And you know what's interesting? Majority of these coaches, all of them claim that they have great agents doing unbelievable business. And the reality is the majority of them have one or two that are doing great business because of the coaching. out of like 500 clients. So what that tells me is every coaching program, every system out there works. The challenge is that the agents that are engaging in those programs, that 99% of them are not committed to it. They're actually listening to coaching from somebody that they may be paying coaching for, and then they're on YouTube listening to a different coach, and then they're actually on this website reading these articles, and then they're on Facebook looking at these damn lies that are all over Facebook about how this one agent just did 52 listings in 52 minutes without making a cold call, and the average cost of the listing after paying for all the leads was only 2 cents. Like they're getting distracted by that lie. They say they're committed to this coaching program, but they're listening to 5 other coaches. That every coach has a different a spin, right? So like that's like when you look at me now, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I do listen to a lot of videos, but I've only had one coach my entire career. I'm not a guy that bounces around. I'm a guy that commits. And that's very, very, very important. So when you're not making commitments in your real estate business and demonstrating your commitment to a process, it's causing failure. Here's another big one. This one might actually be more painful, is it leads to a lack of fulfillment. It's the cause of a lack of joy in your business. Like, how could you have one person that's doing 5 deals a year that's complaining about burnout, and then you got somebody else that's doing 50 deals a year and they're taking every Wednesday and Sunday off and not working late nights? Like, how does that happen? Like, it's not the industry that determines burnout. It's your approach that determines burnout. But what determines your approach? Your commitments. What are you committed to? Like, there's a reason why Greg Harrelson committed to prospecting from 8 to 11 every single day. There's a reason why. And if you want to know the reason why, it's because I don't like to work a lot. Well, this is counterintuitive. Like, if you're going to do all this prospecting from 8 to 11, and you're really good at it, then you're going to get a lot of leads, which leads to a lot of follow-up, which leads to a lot of listings, which is a lot of price reductions, which is a lot of negotiations, which is a lot of complaints, which is a lot of commission checks. But the key is, people sit there and say, well, isn't that a lot of work? No, because it's 10 times more easy to do 100 deals than it is to do 20 deals. Because at 20 deals, you don't have enough money to actually pay for assistance. So when you're doing 20 deals, you're the telemarketer, you're the photographer, you're the videographer, you are the assistant, you're the sign maker, sign putter-upper, you're the key maker, you're your compliance officer. You have to fill out your paperwork. You have to process this. You actually have to know how to do dot loop. Ugh. You have to know how to send paperwork to people where they can electronically sign it. You have to set up showings. You have to get I'm ready to quit. I'm burned out. I feel like a failure. I'm lacking fulfillment. I'm lacking joy. Like at 20 deals, I'm pulling my hair out. But at 100 deals, now you have the finances to set up your business. Just way easier to do more business than it is to do lower business. But what gets you over that threshold is the commitments you make. Like, what's interesting, when you look across the country at the people that are doing 50-plus transactions, just 50-plus transactions, and you take out the producers that are doing 50-plus transactions, and 40 or 45 of their 50 is coming from their spouse's network. Because, you could have a wife that's a surgeon, and she's got a network at a hospital and pump you in quite a bit of deals. Or you could have a husband that's this and pumping you in a lot of deals. So there are those, outlier agents out there that do a tremendous amount of business, all COI, but it's very far and few between. So when you take those out of the equation and you look at people doing 50 deals and more, there'll be a direct correlation between the commitments made and the income generated, and the commitments made and the time they had to work to earn the income. You all see that it's very rarely that I'm in the office late in the afternoon. You guys that are around here, you know that, okay? I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm playing freaking tennis. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I mean, most of the time. And if I'm not, I'm watching my kids play tennis. Or I'm begging somebody else, one of my friends, to go play darts with me. I see John walking in, I'll call him up and text him and say, let's go play darts. And then, he's like, damn it, I got to work. I'm like, well, I shouldn't have used him as an example. I shouldn't have used this as an example, but, what would be the proper thing for me to say? Should have made some different commitments. That's not really for John, but that's an example of like that commitment changed the trajectory of my life and the life of multiple generations in my family. Because before those commitments were made in my family, which is myself and my dad making them after he was already around 50 years old, because that's when my dad got into the business, around 50 years old, and then he made commitments to prospect from 8 to 11, and then I got into the business and made the commitment to 8 to 11. That's what took us from qualifying for food stamps to me being able to play tennis at 4 o'clock if I want to. It was that commitment right there. That commitment changed the trajectory of my life, my kids' life, in multiple generations. Well, they say the third generation usually loses the money, right? So let's call me first generation. So it'll be my grandkids. They'll screw it all up. But at least for my life in the next generation, this one commitment that we made, and Jill, you know that because you've been with me since 99, we made those commitments that changed our lives. Because that commitment influences the way that we acted. And the way that we acted influenced the results that we got. And then when we got a taste of the results, it made our commitment stronger. Now, one of the things that you do see, you may not see me here at 3:30 in the afternoon, but you pretty much see me here every morning. Now, most of the time, I've got my station, and I'm not here at 8. I'm here at 8:03. But those of you that are walking in the parking lot at 7:45, you already see me on the phone at 7:45. I'm already having my first meeting. It's just that I can't cut the conversation short, and I don't want to get out in the car to go beep, 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 and then hear all the noise. It's a distraction for whoever I might be presenting to or meeting with at that moment. I'm already working. My work starts the minute I drive out of my driveway. Is I try to get one call out of the way before I get here. And I have certain people that are in my life that I talk to. Like I have certain people that if I go to the gym at 5 in the morning, I got certain people that I can talk to at 4:45 that I know. That's when Scott Umstead and I talk about business. Because he's up at 3 in the morning probably. So I know that's when the person that built our websites, SEO girl, she's like up at 3 in the morning. So I'm actually usually making a call a couple times a week before I get to the gym, and then before I get to the office, I'm on the phone. See, those are the commitments. So like when you see me gone at 4, you got to understand there's a direct correlation. That has nothing to do with I'm working a shorter day. That has to do with the commitments that I've made. I've committed to being my child's my children's father. And in order for me to make those commitments, that means I commit to being at the ball games. I'm at those ball games. You know, I'm leaving on Friday afternoon, and then I'm going to Charleston for two soccer games, and then Sunday we're hustling to get back for a basketball game and a soccer game. And then my 17-year-old's playing tennis at practice, and like most parents don't go watch their older teenagers go play tennis. They're like driving all by themselves and everything. They don't need us to be watching them. But no, I'm there. Whether she wants me there or not, I want to be there. And that's the gift that I have received from the commitments I've made. But I live in this industry where I'm witnessing so few commitments being made in this business. But I'm also witnessing that those same people that don't have the commitments, what they have is frustration, and they have stress, and they don't enjoy their jobs, they say. They don't enjoy what they're doing, they say. They say they're burned out after doing 15 deals, and I'm thinking, holy cow, how can you burn out at 15 deals? Well, I understand how you can burn out at 15 deals. If you're not making commitments, then you're always playing catch up. You're always behind the ball, chasing the ball. The kid at the soccer field that's chasing the ball is going to wear out. It's the kid that anticipates where the ball's going to be and runs to that spot and lets the ball come to them that's going to be fresh and kick it in the goal. So let's talk about some of the commitments that I think each of us could make that are simple. So I wrote here, keep your commitments simple. Because it doesn't take like really cool commitments, like really smart things that you figured out to actually grow and break through your business. It really doesn't. This is the beautiful thing about this business, is that it is simple. Like, commit to responding to every lead you get. Okay, that's simple, right? Like, you get a lead, like, respond. And respond quickly. Now, we may think, okay, Greg, now that's almost too simple that there's no way that that's a problem. Oh, no, that's a problem. We will not have a 100% answer rate on the call-ins. Even when we have it broadcasted to multiple agents, we'll not have 100%. There will be times where we won't have a lead answered. There are many times where there's leads that you're getting via email that you're not responding to them. I don't know who you are. I just know it's happening. There's no question. Like, if you just made the commitment that I am going to respond quickly to every single lead that comes across my phone or my email, that one thing right there may increase your business by 20%. Just that one commitment. But it's a hard commitment, isn't it? Because, there'll be times where you're going to be on an appointment and you're not going to be able to answer that lead. Well, let's just go ahead and say, okay, how about let's commit to every time that you're available, not an appointment, you answer. Well, it's not as easy as that because you actually may be tired. You may think, I'm just not in the mood. Like, these are all the things that are happening in our mind. You may say different things, different variations of what I just said, but these are the cause of you all, or we all, agents in general, not responding to every single lead. But the difference in responding to some leads versus all leads could be a difference of thousands of dollars to your business. That's just a commitment you could make. How about this one? How about commit to when you do respond and they don't respond, meaning they don't pick up the phone, how about commit to double dial text? There's nobody that has tried double dial text that has ever given me feedback and said it didn't work. There's also nobody that has done double dial text that's given me feedback that said it worked really well that actually committed to doing it on every call. Like, if you did double dial text on every single call, your connection rate would go up by probably 30%. If you actually talk to 30% more people, what do you think that would do to your business? If your skill level stayed the same, what would that do? I'm not even talking about commit to getting better at anything. I'm actually saying, what if you just committed to doing double dial text on every lead that you got that you couldn't get on the phone on the initial call? Like, I think everybody knows when I ask this question, isn't that simple? The answer for all of you is yes to that. But what makes it difficult? How you're feeling at the moment. And why does how you're feeling influence the way you act? Because you don't have a commitment. See, if you had a strong commitment to the things that you say you want, like providing for your family, providing the financials to give your family a quality of life that you envision, then you would do some things even at the times that you don't really feel like doing it. Like, I'm a little bit tired. Well, you know, if you really have a strong commitment to what you really want to accomplish, then when you're a little bit tired, you would still get to pick up the phone or still do the double dial text, because you know that that is the solution that'll get you to the next level. Like, those two things alone, if you just hung up the phone right now and made a commitment for the next 90 days to do both of those things, I will guarantee your business will break through. Now, how do I know that? Because Eric and I have been studying the numbers for so long. We know. We know how many times these leads are generated, and we know how many of these leads are never tended to, and we know that how many leads it takes for someone to get a deal. And so we can see all these leads that are never tended to. If they actually were tended to, we know how many extra deals those would be. And it's an extraordinary number that can all shift by simple commitments. Now, I don't think we go down this list and you could commit to all these things. Heck, if you just left here and committed to one of these things for the next 30 days, you may actually like it so much that you may commit to it forever, because you see, wow, this business is a lot easier. When I make this commitment, then I get to double my business. And when I get to double my business, I double my income. And when I double my income, I hire staff. And when I hire staff, I get to work a little bit less and have a little bit more freedom and grow my business even more. So your commitment's the first domino. And by the way, your non-commitment is also your first domino. You just got to decide which one you're going to kick over. Commit to a number of outbound contacts each day. Commit means like there's a defined number and you hit it. And when your friend calls you up and says, hey, would you like to do this? And you're not at that goal, then you can't do it. Now, when you miss out on a few things, what ends up happening, if you're really committed, you figure out how to adjust a few other things to make sure that you do hit your goal within a certain time frame, so you don't have to miss those things. You can have your cake and eat it too. But those that have their cake and eat it too are the ones that actually have commitments. Commit to sending 3 handwritten notes per day. That's not for all of you. That's for some of you. But those things would matter. Like, take your centers of influence and just like commit to 3 handwritten notes every day. Like, you know, you could get in the office real early and you could write those out. You could have all the note cards and envelopes sitting, you know, in your station, and you could write out 3 in like 5 minutes and drop them in the mail. You could do that. That's not a commitment that's hard. That's simple, and it'll have an impact. Commit to 1 hour of old lead follow-up every day. There's gold in those databases. It can't be, though, I'll make some calls when I have time. No, it's you schedule the time, and then the world will work around that schedule. The challenge is we have no schedule, and we're trying to fit our business in, and it takes too long. This business doesn't require 10 hours worth of work every day. Not at all. Commit to 1 open house per week. I think I talked yesterday about open houses, and I gave anybody that didn't see yesterday's webinar, please, we're going to be sending it out. Please listen to it, okay? I'm going to share with you why open houses and the thought process, the strategy behind open houses has shifted in this industry. I'm going to tell you exactly why it shifted, because I have never been a big fan of open houses. But I'll share with you why it has shifted, why it's actually becoming a viable way to generate business. Commit to calling 5 for-sale by owners per week. These are examples of simple commitments that you can make that when you make them could have an impact on your business. And when you think about the things that I'm referring to here, these things don't take much time. Commit to one all-day prospecting day per month. One day. You choose a day, the first Tuesday of every month or something like that, where you go in and you clear your calendar. Nothing is allowed to be put in that calendar. No listing appointments, no buyer appointments, nothing. And all you do is for 6 or 7 hours straight, 3 hours before lunch or 4 hours before lunch, 3 hours after lunch, all you do is call through your old database, your old leads. Now, I don't guarantee a lot, but I'll make another guarantee. I guarantee there will not be a day that you do that one simple thing that you'll come up empty-handed without an opportunity. There's no way. Statistically, it's practically an impossibility. And if it did happen one day that you got nothing, then the next day you did it, you would get 2 of something, and it would average out to 1 of something, 1 every time. It would just be a fluke in the numbers, but when you do it 4 times in a row and you average it out, I'm telling you, there's no possible way that the numbers would actually work against you. So what's interesting is these are commitments that you can control, that you can make. These are also commitments that you can choose not to make. These are commitments that are simple, that doesn't require any additional learning. It just requires a commitment. And I like that, right? Like, you're already equipped. All you have to do is commit. It's simple, and you get the result. So when you're like really committed and you say, I've got a commitment to make sure that I have X amount of savings for retirement. Well, see, committing to that, the end result, committing to the end result does not get you the end result. Identifying the end result and then committing to the process will get you the end result. But those people that make commitments that I'm committed to, saving enough money to retire comfortably, I mean, that's great. I understand the concept. I understand that that's a goal. I understand that that's a desire. Some people, it might be a strong desire. But having a strong desire and that as a goal is not the cause of you getting that goal. It's the commitment to taking the proper steps and actions that lead to that goal. That's why so many real estate agents have bigger goals than they'll ever achieve, because their goals are much greater than in size than their commitments. And those people that have small goals but big commitments, then they end up having much bigger success. Like, what you're going to achieve will be more correlated to what you're going to give, the commitments that you're going to act on, than you just having a good goal. I mean, those people out there that set these big goals and think that setting this big goal is going to be the way that's going to get you to break through. No, it's setting the big goal, but then working backwards, identifying what's the process to reaching that big goal, and then committing to the process. The goal is insignificant. It's just the process that matters. How about committing to waking up at the same time each day? That's a big deal. Committing to waking up at the same time each day would be a big deal, would have an influence on your business for some of you. Because, how can you actually plan out your whole day when you're not even sure exactly when you're going to wake up? Like my day was planned out this morning. It was like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 4:40. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to get home by, say, 6 o'clock. And then from 6 to 6:30, I'm going to work on a document that Tammy needs. So then Tammy can continue to work on a project that she needs to get done. And then I'm going to hang out with the kids for a couple minutes. And I'm going to get in the shower. And then I'm going to get to the office. And on the way to the office, I'm going to make a call. And then I'll get in here. I'm trying to be here right here in the presence of the training center at 8 o'clock. But all of that was triggered by me determining when I was going to wake up. Like if I didn't know when I was going to wake up, then I couldn't have determined when I was going to go to the gym. And I may not have been able to do this for Tammy, and I may not have been able to do this. See, it's the commitment. That one commitment was the first domino. And when that was kicked over, it actually pushed over some other dominoes. So I want to think about this because I want you all to kind of think about this because you may find yourself, experiencing this. In real estate, I used to do a seminar, a new agent seminar. And in that new agent seminar, it was interesting, because my new agent seminar, what I talked about is I would open it up and I'd say, okay, why are y'all getting into real estate? Now, in there would be people that had just got their license or were in the school to get their license. And I'd have, maybe 15 people in this room that are all new licensees. And I would say, so let's just talk about some of the reasons why you got into real estate. Now, I knew that there were 3 reasons why. It is very rarely, like a lot of times I could ask people to give comments and there would be 4 reasons that would be stated. And out of the 4, they already mentioned the 3 that I knew they were going to mention. Like very rarely would there not be a consensus. And it was they wanted freedom. They wanted to be their own boss and freedom. Like they were tired of being told when to be somewhere and when not to be somewhere. They also said they wanted they wanted freedom of time. They wanted more time is what they wanted. And then the second one was they wanted to be their own boss. They wanted to they didn't want to really work for anybody. They wanted to be their own boss. They wanted freedom of time. They wanted to have control, freedom to be their own boss. And then guess what the last one was? The last one was they wanted unlimited income opportunities. They felt like they were good workers. They had work ethic. And every time that they worked harder and the business grew, they weren't rewarded. It was their bosses or the owners were the ones that were making all the money, and they weren't being rewarded. So it's freedom of time, be the own boss, and unlimited income. Now, what was interesting about this, and probably caught everybody off guard, is my entire presentation was me trying to talk them out of getting into real estate. Now, these are new licensees or people that were getting ready to go into the school. And I said, I'm going to share with you why everybody fails. There's 3 reasons why people fail. And I told them the reasons are it's because there's too much freedom. People are not qualified to be their own boss because they can't hold themselves accountable. And the average income in real estate at that time was about $13,000 net. So obviously the unlimited income was a bunch of bullshit. It was a myth. So then I went, and that was the beginning of the seminar. And I shared with them that this is why 80% or whatever the number is was failing within 24 months. That it was one's ability, one's fantasy to have all this freedom. But they thought by getting a license and being in real estate that granted them freedom. No, it's how you built your business that determined whether or not you had freedom or not. And in order to ever get to the point where you actually have freedom, you have to build a business, just like any other business. You don't get it when you get your license. You actually get it after making a series of commitments that get you to a certain level that then allows you to build a team or a staff that then you get the freedom. But in order to get there, you got to go through that process, which most real estate agents aren't doing. In order to get income, unlimited income, it's not easy. You have to work to have that type of income. But see, they wanted unlimited income, but didn't want to have to be accountable to their boss, and they wanted freedom to do whatever they wanted at any time. Usually that people can do whatever they want at any time and not hold accountable by a boss or some leadership at some level, they usually don't earn freedom of income. So you could see that what attracts everybody to the real estate industry is the exact reason why people fail out of the industry. But it doesn't have to be that case scenario, because there are a few diamonds in the rough that make small commitments. And when they make those small commitments, they actually get exactly what they signed up for. So what I have here in my notes to just kind of end this conversation is, what do you sacrifice when you don't commit? You sacrifice your freedom. You sacrifice by having limited income. You do become your own boss, but you are completely unfulfilled going home wondering why you're not advancing further. And all of that can be corrected by making a few commitments. So I gave you a list of commitments. Now there's dozens and probably hundreds of additional commitments that you can make that will achieve a significant breakthrough in your business. But I hope what you understand, the theme of this is that you're only one or two commitments away from a breakthrough. And the commitments that you have to make, the tasks that you have to commit to, are simple. But I also want to acknowledge that one of the hardest things to commit to are simple tasks, because you think they're so simple you can make it up tomorrow. Well, I don't need to come in and like today at 8. It's okay if I don't come in and make my contacts today. I can make up tomorrow. The reality is that there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. You'll never make it up. That becomes the hardest thing about committing to simple tasks, is that the simple tasks in your mind are something that you can put off until tomorrow, because it's so simple you can just double up, but you just don't double up. And then not reaching or meeting your commitments becomes your habit. Commit to something that you're convinced will advance your business, and I suggest you commit to it for 90 days. But at the least, commit to it for the next 30 days and report to me what happens to your business. Hopefully you found this helpful. You can always text me, email me, call me, come see me. However you want to reach out, if I can help, I want to be there for you. We'll talk soon.